Hello, 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 hello. We're back again. This shit never ends. What's up, West Side? Y'all already know there's a lot going on. I covered some things in the previous broadcast, but it looks like there's some stuff churning up as we speak. But we're here, we're alive, we're well. We're gonna document it just to not let it go by the wayside, because it's all happening right now, baby. So, hello again. We're getting into the mix. Hello, hello. Mic check for sure. So come on, join us. We're doing this. We're here. We're serving up the content from another perspective. And fuck it, yo, cause that's all there is to it, right? Ain't nothing to it. But hello. And let's get to it again. This is a different conversation right here. This is talking to Sam Sedar with the H3 show, hasanabi watching live. This is all live happening, and there's a couple other things that happened right before. So he's talking to him today. It's already happening. Hassan will be watching the Sam Sedar conversation live, to the dismay of his audience, says this poster. Get into this part right here. Hassan and his community are already predicting that Ethan will try to Sam Sedar him and Destiny to get him banned. So he's more worried about his stubborn nature that he'll keep going and he doesn't give a fuck. So let's see what's up with this shit.
Because Destiny isn't just like repulsive because of, but if you back out, aren't you worried that he will just call you a coward? I know it's a shitty thing for him to do, but just still thinking about your stream. Yeah, I mean, if he puts up Destiny or any other like banned person, I will get banned on Twitch. So yeah, I'm not gonna fucking get banned on Twitch just because Ethan wanted to do a troll, and I will, I will bring that up and I will communicate that while I'm on his stream as, because Destiny isn't just like repulsive because like everything Hassan said.
So this is where he's talking about the upcoming debate between him and Ethan, which is coming up Friday. And he's predicting that he's going to get Destiny on there and they're going to dish it out. But what the fuck is going on? Here's his live talks about it, right?
About everything Hassan said about you collaborating with Destiny was correct. Like, what the fuck is that, Because Destiny isn't just like repulsive because of, but if you back out, aren't you worried that he will just call you a coward? I know it's a shitty thing for him to do, but just still thinking about your stream. Yeah, I mean, if he puts up Destiny or any other like banned person, I will get banned on Twitch. So yeah, I'm not gonna fucking get banned on Twitch just because Ethan wanted to do a troll, and I will, I will bring that up and I will communicate that while I'm on his stream as well.
That's like kind of insane that they would be willing to do that rather than just have a conversation. They want to throw in some tricks, some clown and circus olay, if you will. So if that really does happen and he's aiming for a ban on hasanabi, that really just shows Ethan H3's motive, his MO, is not to really have a conversation with Hassan. It's really just to get him banned or cause some kind of collateral towards him rather than actually talk to the man, right? And honestly, when you get the message from like these people up in the comments, and they just really are frustrated for some reason at this one streamer, right? I hope he gets banned. I fucking hate this guy. It's like this man is his worst enemy, it sounds like. It would be funnier. It would be funnier if it was Sam Hyde. I mean, at least these guys are bringing in some humor to it, but he should be banned. It's like, just take a moment of imagination. This person is just with their electronic device, typing their little thumbs and fingers and saying what another person should do, which is get banned. And honestly, it's just up there for display. It's like looking at it through a window, right? It's like, these are these people really out here just fucking showing their toxic sleeve for sure. But fuck it, man. This is how these people behave for some reason. Maybe they weren't loved as a child or something, or maybe they just are a bunch of whiny little bitches, like this guy says, but instead it's them that are a bunch of whiny little bitches that are getting so frustrated with just one streamer. It's like if you show a devil emoji to somebody and they just fucking get like super heated, or like they see a snake and they get like all types of goosebumps and stuff. It's like this guy right here, this is like their worst enemy. He's like worse than the boogeyman to these fucking little chatters over here. And honestly, that's the way, right? That's just how they are. You can't go into each one of these people's minds and change it. Nobody's saying to do that. Nobody wants to do that. These are just them. These are just who they are. And that's beautiful. That's beautiful because they're just telling you who the fuck they are. And honestly, these are just people who probably have maybe some followings, like this Yeet guy who absolutely hates streamers for some reason, but he also streams. So, I mean, there's kind of like a little bit of a psychological dig right there. When you hate what you are, there's like something between the lines right there, right? And to speak on it, this guy just took one of the best artists of our generation's name as well. So I'm gonna refer to him as Ock 20,000. Or even that is a fucking rip off of another creator's name, Academic. So I'm really just gonna call this fucker 20,000, because he's on level of Cope 20,000 every day. But he does have a lot of following, a lot of people who are on this sentiment, a lot of whiny little bitches, if you will. But I mean, that's just how the whole internet is, right? Fuck it, man. We ball, and this is what they're talking about. This is what they're saying. And yeah, let's just go ahead and finish up the clip.
Act like, what the fuck is that, you know? Because Destiny isn't just like repulsive because of, but if you back out, aren't you worried that he will just call you a coward? I know it's a shitty thing for him to do, but just still thinking about your stream. Yeah, I mean, if he puts up Destiny or any other like banned person, I will get banned on Twitch. So yeah, I'm not gonna fucking get banned on Twitch just because Ethan wanted to do a troll, and I will, you know, I will bring that up and I will communicate that while I'm on his stream as well. But you know, it is what it is. It's not like I'm you know, I'll still have a couple words before I pull out of the. I'm more worried about my stubborn nature, where I will just like keep going and then I'll fucking get banned. I thought Twitch changed that policy. No.
Yeah, so there's kind of like the nitty gritty details. Gritty for sure, cause motherfuckers be hitting the gritty. And yeah, I mean, keep it moving, keeping it going. H3 talking to Sam Sedar. Let's see what this bullshit's about. Let's see. Let us see. Let us go for sure.
So, as you touched on, this was made basically before the war started. And I think that the unfortunate, really tragic outcome of the war is how much it's jaded and radicalized, I think, people in Israel. It's really, you know, I think people in Israel feel like isolated, They feel like, I mean, the sentiment in Israel is.
So he's talking to him right here, and we're watching it live. Fuck it.
A political streamer, and basically you have the capacity to weigh like the lesser of two evils, and what that means. I feel like it's an abdication of responsibility to not make that call.
I mean, I certainly have been critical of people who, generally don't vote for the lesser of two evils. But I think, it certainly, in the run up to the 2016 election, I certainly, that was my perspective. But again, what the Biden administration was doing was so horrific that her inability to signal that there would be any change. I think sometimes you have to take this at face value. And I think there would be certainly, definitely other things. You would not be assaulting the government like Trump is. But, I think probably this is the first election in as long as I've been doing this, and I think it's been 5 elections now. I mean, I'm old. That I couldn't really condemn someone from taking that position based upon what we were seeing. I mean,
It's not just some random person. I do, and I'll tell you why. Kamala Harris wanted a ceasefire. She stated that. Trump said finish them. I mean, let's be honest. Like for someone
Biden
like Hassan,
said, I want a ceasefire.
I'm not voting for Biden. I'm not talking about Biden.
No, I understand, but we found out that Biden, in fact, did nothing to bring that about. So,
well, you can talk about Biden. I'm talking about Kamala Harris. What she said.
I mean,
well, she's the vice president. I mean, at the end of the day, she doesn't really do that much, right?
No. But I'm talking about the candidate. Biden, as a president, said he wanted a ceasefire. She, as a candidate, said I want a ceasefire.
Well, do you not? Even if you're like, I don't know how much I trust them. One's like, I want a ceasefire, and the other one is like, finish them.
Well, listen, I think it was certainly obvious to me that Trump was going to be worse, but I think like if you're trying to get the candidate to show some indication of this, I can understand that. I mean, I wouldn't do it. I would disagree with it, but
yeah, and I get your point too. Like, ultimately, I understand why people wouldn't want to them because of what they've seen, and like that, it feels like it feels like
it also shows a tremendous amount of just like electoral malfeasance on her part. I mean, they made an active choice, and I think you could have put that Palestinian lawmaker from Georgia on stage. They made an active choice to signal to whomever they were signaling that they weren't going to do anything. Now, I happen to believe that she would have been better on this than Trump, but they were making an active choice to do that. I mean, it was really electoral malfeasance on her part, in my opinion. But I don't know what the point of litigating this is per se. But
well, we're talking about kind of my criticisms of Hassan and how this.
I don't.
Well, let me show you this.
I don't care.
Yeah,
about,
I know.
Honestly, I'm like
Let me show you this. This is more.
Not, I honestly. Like,
yeah, you don't care. I know.
I don't care. I don't.
And why should you? I don't blame you. We talked about anti-Semitism, and you think that I don't want to put words in your mouth, right? But you seem to have conveyed that, compared to the.
That's hilarious. He basically told him straight up he does not care about the whole conflict with Hassan, and it is kind of interesting
humanitarian crisis in Gaza.
Hearing
it. Obviously, that's way more important. So let me show you an example of something. And again, I know you don't care about the drama. To me, this isn't drama. This is one of the biggest, most influential streamers spreading something that I think is really dangerous. And you can agree or disagree, but it's a short clip, but I'll show it to you. And you tell me what you think.
This will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way. Neo-Nazi.
Bro.
And you couldn't even.
This is kind of insane how Ethan's just really about proving his point when it comes to hasanabi, he doesn't come off as he cares about the political side. He cares about the hasanabi side, and it's like it's a trip, dog. It's like a trip. It's like just having to process that, like, what the fuck? Like, that's like a trip, man.
Positive feelings about the state of Israel. So serious about this.
Now, by the way, he didn't misspeak. He doubled. I agree. That's what I think. Now, just to recap, he says, anyone that's had positive feelings at any point about the state of Israel is a neo-Nazi that's
Damn, son.
really dangerous, dehumanizing language about what could arguably be 70% of the Jewish diaspora, and certainly probably people you know in your family.
I'll tell you, there's some hyperbole there, but
that's putting it mildly.
I mean, he says Zionism, and I'll tell you what I think is really.
Sorry, I gotta correct you. He says Zionism, and then he says if you had positive feelings about the state of Israel at any point in your life.
I gotta tell you, if you look at what's happening right now, and you have positive feelings about Israel,
He said at any point in your life, Sam. Just to be clear about what he said.
Would I have said at any point in his life, someone's life? But I just think this is such a petty, like the idea that we're going to police. Hold on, let me respond.
Ahead.
You want me to respond this?
No,
I
go
don't.
ahead.
Like I say, I don't care about this. But if you're going to force me to respond to it, what Israel is doing right now is so far beyond the idea that someone says any time in your life or not or whatnot. He's talking about Zionism, and frankly, I think it's very difficult for me to understand how someone could have positive feelings at this time. Now, you want to say in the past and what? Okay.
Yeah.
Like I say, I will grant you at any time in your life that is too broad a step. But wait, let me finish.
Yeah.
But see, you go in and you're making this about anti-Semitism by doing this hopscotch about a poll that people had positive feelings that Jewish people do, and then therefore he is anti-Semitic. And honestly, that type of conflation, I think, is so dangerous and so disingenuous. I mean, I don't want to get too passionate about this, but I will tell you something. I have had a guy who went to my bar mitzvah, my sister's bar mitzvah, my kid's bar mitzvah, sat at Passover with me 3 or 4 times, call my father and ask him if I'm anti-Semitic. Now, this is just one, that is just an example, an illustration of conflating when he's clearly talking about Zionism. Was it hyperbole to say any time in life, whatever? The fact of the matter is this conflation is dangerous for Jews. It is a fig leaf and a way of weaponizing anti-Semitism that has enabled Donald Trump to do the shit he's doing, that has enabled the slaughter of thousands upon thousands of children and women and men, for that matter. It is not keeping Israelis safe. And this type of conflation, Ethan, is what I find far more irresponsible, frankly, than the idea that he said positive any time. I mean, look, you do a show Sam, 4 hours a day. He does a show 5 or, as far as I could tell, 15 hours a day. And to focus in on that one tiny clause.
This is not one tiny clip, Sam. Well, you don't know. This is a totality of behavior.
But you wanted
and by the way, it's easy.
And
I appreciate that you can hand wave it away and say that it doesn't.
No, I'm not hand waving it away.
Well, you kind of are.
I'm saying this.
You're saying
conflation.
It doesn't. You're saying actually, I'm wrong for caring about it.
No, yes. In fact, I'm saying this conflation is incredibly dangerous. It is disingenuous.
I think it's dangerous
right now,
to ignore what's being described as dehumanizing, violent language for American Jews that have nothing to do with the war.
That is a complete mischaracterization of that.
It's not.
He's
not fit to be a dog walker.
He never says the word Jews.
He says a neo.
Listen, how many members of Kufi have paused?
Holy fuck, he's like just going in on Ethan right here. And this is what is going to be broadcasted, what is going to be seen, what is going to be talked about. Holy shit. Let Sam Sedar cook. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Holy.
Of feelings
Well,
towards Israel.
let me see.
Oh, wait. How many millions of members
What the fuck?
of Kufi, the Christian organization, have positive feelings?
Damn. Damn. Wow.
For Jews. It is clearly not a function of their Judaism. It is not a function of their Judaism. And so
But it
not
describes most Jews.
No.
Yes, it does, Sam.
It describes most Christian evangelicals too.
It may do them too, but it also describes 73%
so
of Jews.
that is not anti-Semitism. That is about
I don't know.
a
What do
belief.
you call it when somebody's discriminating against the vast majority of a racial or religious group, Sam?
I'm sorry. You want to look at evangelical Jews?
I don't care about evangelical
Jews.
people.
Okay, but I'm talking about the way you're constructing this.
I think
you can say the same thing about Christian evangelicals too. It is not anti-Semitism. It is not. It just isn't.
Like, taking one example in isolation, which is what we've done here.
Well, you are the one who gave it to me.
Yeah, well,
I don't even want to talk about
fundamentally,
it,
I disagree with you.
but I'm using your example, and in that instance, that is not anti-Semitism.
Well,
and
I
this
disagree.
Conflation. Okay, well, that's our disagreement.
Yeah.
But I think that conflation is incredibly dangerous.
Well, I disagree as well
It's
on that.
dangerous for Jews.
I think
it's dangerous for this society.
I think, frankly, I think it's dangerous to what I perceive as hand waving what is happening here. I know you said you aren't doing
I'm
that.
not hand waving. This
you're
is
doing
a
the
function
opposite. You're
of
endorsing
decades of thought about this.
So right, sure. But the point is, you're saying that this is not dangerous. How dare you care about this? I think it's dangerous
No, I'm not saying that at all.
I personally, I mean,
I'm
Jewish
saying
people
the
have a collective
mischaracterization
memory of
of it
trauma,
as
Sam, and it
anti-Semitism.
starts a certain way. And it starts with people, it starts with dehumanizing language, like saying you're not fit to walk a dog. I mean, what are we doing here?
Talking about
it's
Jews.
irresponsible language.
He's not talking about
He's
Jews.
talking about 73% of Jewish people.
No, you said that.
No, that's a poll that's readily available.
No, you made that connection. He did not. Because we have millions upon millions of members of Kufi. We have millions upon millions in this country of evangelicals who also believe the same thing.
Does your dad
and
have?
You cannot say it's
could you
anti-Semitism.
Could you
You
describe
cannot say it's anti-Semitism if you're also including millions upon millions, far more Christians than Jews.
Would you say that your father, who you mentioned, said something to you, that he's ever in his life had positive feelings about the state of Israel?
I've had positive feelings of Israel.
Well, does your dad have any positive feelings about it now?
I would assume so.
Not in terms of like I support them, but
I've
like
had
I think
positive
Israel.
feelings. I went to Israel on.
Okay, good. Then you're a neo-Nazi,
my
not fit to walk a
confirmation.
dog. How do you feel about that?
No, that's you saying that. That
That's
is not
literally what he
Hassan
said.
saying.
I'll play it again.
No.
I think like this will never happen, but in a totally just world, any kind of, regardless of your background, any kind of fucking Zionist tendency should be treated in the same way as
It's a trip that Ethan gets so caught up on like one clip from one broadcast in one segment. Like, holy shit.
being a fucking rabid neo-Nazi, and you shouldn't even let someone be the fucking local dog catcher as Felix was posting if they've ever exhibited any sort of like positive feelings about the state of Israel. I'm so serious about this.
Another thing he's doing, by the way, and Hassan does this.
Listen,
He
you can
plays
say
around
that
with the
that's a
term
wrong thing to do.
Zionists, right?
You can say that's a wrong thing to say, but he's not talking about Jews. He's talking about people who have exhibited these positive feelings, and that includes millions upon millions of Christians. More Christians.
Okay, well, listen,
than
I don't think
Jews
they're
exist in the
neo-Nazis, not
world.
fit to walk dogs, either. I think it's insane language.
Listen, you don't want to tell me that you have never engaged in hyperbole. You and I both are in this
It's not
business,
just
and we do that.
Yeah, you're right. You know, I just think that,
It's listen. You can say
I
it's
just
an
think that,
inappropriate thing
like,
to say. It's an unfair thing to say.
I just think like
but
Arabs
it's
that
not
support Israel aren't
anti-Semitism.
fit to walk a dog.
It is not anti-Semitism.
Okay, well, we're
And
at
you
an
can say
impasse
that
on
it's-
this one.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, But anyway, another thing he does is he says Zionist tendencies, and he's someone that plays around with Zionism. He calls me a Zionist, and again, I know we're arguing here about semantics of what Hassan said, but I don't think that you could accurately characterize me as that, as it's used colloquially. You don't know, right? But he's saying Zionist tendencies. What does that mean? What's a Zionist tendency?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're going to talk to him on Friday. You can ask him what a Zionist tendency is. I suppose, I would guess, and, like I've looked at polls too, where, people have various different understandings of what Zionism is. But I think it is my guess, and I don't know what he was thinking specifically, but the notion of an ethno-state that engages and allows whatever in the name of Zionism.
This is bananas how they are going back and forth. Sam Sedar is really not holding back. He's really disarming Ethan's arguments, and they're talking over each other. They're not meeting where you would think they would, because in the past they have connected before, and right here they're completely on just their sides of the argument for sure. And Ethan is really trying to not listen at all. And Sam Sedar's kind of on the defense, but it's kind of Ethan that's on the offense, no?
Allows for this mass slaughter, I think is horrific.
Sure, me too.
Okay. I mean, then I think we the three of us agree on that regard.
Yeah, I think we're so. Another thing is like to take it even further. I mean, Hassan pretty much like openly supports Hamas.
Let's not talk about Hassan. Let's talk about this.
Sure. I mean, what do you want to ask me?
Well, I mean, if you want to ask me about, I mean,
well, let me.
I'm not here to explore.
Yeah. I have a list of things that.
But if you want to talk about Hamas, I mean, I think. Look.
Well, how do you feel about Hamas?
I
feel like it's interesting. Ethan just wants to talk about Hassan with another creator. It's like all this seems to be is his fucking grievances with Hassan. Like, holy shit, man.
I feel that Hamas, people can perceive it as a liberation organization. We call them terrorists in this country. We call the ANC terrorists. What do you think about them,
Sam?
Listen, I think there are parts, I would imagine, of Hamas that have done good for the people in Gaza, and I think they have done bad things. But I sort of feel, I guess, ultimately probably like Ehud Barak when he said that were I Palestinian and I was living in Gaza, that it would be likely that I would join Hamas. I mean, that's what Ehud Barak said on multiple occasions. And I think that is very, that is an understanding of human nature.
That you're not affording Israelis, by the way, just to point out an inconsistency there.
How so?
Well, you're like, I refuse to understand human nature and their reaction. It's just evil, and I don't know how to explain it.
I didn't use the word evil.
Right. I'm inferring because I asked you if you think they're evil, and you didn't really answer that.
Listen, I don't know what Gazans felt on October 8th, but toward Hamas. But I can tell you that we have there is a long history of terrorist organizations or so-called terrorist organizations like the ANC or the IRA, even the PLO,
now, Sam,
that ultimately become political organizations.
I think the comparison to Hamas to what happened in South Africa is insanely disingenuous. And I personally hate when people do that.
I mean, Mandela didn't think so.
Well, Mandela did think so. He explicitly stated that he avoided committing violence on the citizenry because it would make...
I think one fair point that Sam Sedar keeps doing is he's really attacking like the politics side. Every time H3 wants to talk about Hassan, Sam Sedar just bumps it back into the real world issues that are happening, and then Ethan does kind of bite back, but then he kind of brings up Hassan again, like, holy shit.
Unification impossible. That's something he said.
I think you could say that tactically speaking, listen,
in the totality, by the way, Sam, in the totality of their campaign, I think under 200 civilians died. And the people who did kill civilians were almost all held accountable for what they did. That's a difference, Sam.
Well, I mean, I can tell you that
a significant difference.
Well, it is a significant difference. I mean, I imagine many of those people who committed atrocities on October 7th are dead now. And, you know, so...
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, that's accountability.
Being killed? Okay. I mean, being held accountable by the party that they're presumably doing the violence on behalf. Like,
but you're saying the entire ANC was held accountable?
No, I was saying Nelson Mandela's party, if someone killed a civilian, they would hold them accountable. They would charge them. They would disavow their actions.
The ANC did?
Yes.
Well, the IRA was bombing places in England and throughout Ireland. I mean, we have even the Irgun or the Stern Gang when they killed, over 100 villagers in 1948. I mean, the history is full of example of organizations that commit terrorist acts. Now, I will tell you,
people look at South Africa.
I do not condone the killing of civilians, which is why obviously I'm upset about what Israel is doing.
Sure. The part that I don't like about people say, I feel like people sweep for Hamas by saying, like, what do you expect, right? But the truth is that people use South Africa as an example, but what South Africa shows is that you don't need to commit a violent war against civilians to liberate yourself.
Well, I mean, listen, we had for a year, we had the Great March of Return, where, Sinwar himself was...
At least right here, they're kind of being cordial with each other. They're actually having a conversation, talking about all of the atrocities that happen, and they're opening that line of communication. At least it's not turned into a dogfight just yet.
Involved in that, there was Palestinians marching on a regular basis over the course of the year. I don't know how many it was, 50 or whatever, that were innocent people who went there, and snipers are shooting down unarmed civilians. And so, time and time again, and over the course of the 20 years that I've been professionally, covering this, my attitude towards Israel's willingness to have peace has changed, and my understanding of it has changed. And I can only imagine how more intense that feeling is to be living in a place that is, functionally like, the Warsaw Ghetto, insofar as, like, you don't have access to resources, you have 50% unemployment, the apartheid that is taking place in terms of the West Bank. I mean,
I agree with those characterizations, by the way, Sam. Just to say,
but I can't imagine that my response wouldn't be to pick up a weapon.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know.
It's not really working out.
I find it interesting how
of what they
clearly
would do to go in.
Sam Sedar knows his homework on all of these topics, these issues, and then all Ethan really does is kind of just be like, well, I agree, I disagree. Like, obviously, Ethan doesn't really have a lot of knowledge on this kind of world global topics, any conflicts. He only really is attacking kind of the other content creators like Sam Sedar, for example, or even just hasanabi. It's fucking interesting.
Truly level it, destroy what is it, 80-90% of the structures in Palestine, bomb hospitals that they would use.
Well, Hamas did know that, because that's why they attacked.
Food as a weapon.
I'm more interested in the justification for what they're doing.
Probably took hostages with the idea that they would be able to negotiate.
I understand why they took hostages. I don't understand why they took children. and elderly.
I believe that they probably, I mean, this is all conjecture on my part, that they would be able to trade them as a way to inhibit Israel's doing what they're doing. And I don't know if they could have even imagined that. I'm not going I'm not going to endorse Hamas's, strategy here.
Well, I'm just trying to flesh it out here, because this is what I'm getting to is Hamas. I think they knew that this was the reaction that would happen. You know?
I can't imagine that they assumed that there would be this level of destruction.
I mean, that's why they hate Israel. I don't think they underestimate how violent the IDF can be. You know what I mean? That's why they attacked.
I certainly underestimated that they would go this far. Use
I didn't think they'd go this far, but
bomb hospitals and shoot EMTs and have rules of engagement like this. I mean, and I think Hamas is certainly up to criticism for their strategy here. If that's
an understatement.
Well, I mean, if that's well,
I mean, they're a terrorist organization that intentionally antagonized like the IDF to come mass slaughter their civilians.
I think that they overestimated whether Israel cared about the hostages without.
Damn, this is where it gets tricky for the audience, because they're actually talking about these world global issues, wars, atrocities, in the context of like YouTube.
Was their plan.
And when it starts getting towards like the content creator areas, it's like that's where it gets messy. But they're actually talking about the issues at hand with the IDF, the war tactics, the bombings, all of the retaliation, and it is a bit of fresh air to kind of actually hear some real issues be covered, although Ethan does really wrap it back up to like the whole drama sphere. And yeah, for sure it's not easy talking about these topics. No lie.
Have Israel respond this way? That's absurd.
Well, and the same is true of, like, I guess Israelis feel the same way. Like, it was totally unprecedented. You know what happened. So maybe they didn't think that their mission would be as successful as it was. On the other hand,
I have no doubt that they did not think that they would that they would have been able to overrun that. I mean, I think we were told that the technology of Israel's fence, et cetera, was perfect and something we should emulate in this country. I mean, Trump was all talking about that. So I have no doubt that Hamas overestimated
overestimated the IDF. Yeah, I got you.
What they would be able to, what kind of destruction they would wreak, and they underestimated the violence that Israel would perpetrate on Gaza. I don't know that anyone could have imagined that Israel would have engaged in this level of destruction and immiseration and bombing churches and bombing hospitals and blowing up universities and destroying the infrastructure. I mean, it's
Cisco kid. They don't know shit.
Beyond.
Okay.
So one thing that
we're watching it live for sure. I mean, they're having the conversation.
This is about him personally. When I asked him, because this is obviously the $1 million question, right? By the way, just there's not one public bomb shelter in Gaza.
If it's not up to the public to talk about these options, about these things, then who is it? Who could talk about it then, huh? There's like,
I just think that's interesting. It's pretty.
Ultimately, it's the public that ends up getting affected by this shit, whether it's with
do I think it's fucked up?
Different politicians, whether it's laws, bills, wars. If World War IV happens, World War III happens, motherfucker, we're going straight to the D-Day on that shit. If you're just like, what does it matter if they don't know shit? Because it affects everybody at the end of the day when they're starting like World War V's and shit. What the fuck, man? Holy shit. And it's really interesting to watch like all of the conversations happen in the chat, all of the kind of slander on each side, but fuck it, man. They're actually having these
I'm not
conversations.
Sure I understand the point. Like,
well, I mean, do
you think anything would be standing anymore?
Well, bomb shelters are underground. I mean, they would definitely be a lot safer.
I've seen what happened to tunnels under hospitals.
Your statement is, so you say there were tunnels under hospitals?
Israel built the ones under the
honestly, if you're walking towards a light, the only light you're walking to is a fucking nuclear outfall in the fucking winter. That's the only type of light you're seeing. But fuck it, man. This is where it's at. At least this is why conversations need to be had. Maybe you could actually fucking... Hey, you just gotta sit back and watch the show, right? Holy fuck.
Right, that's true of that one. But I mean, they have a vast tunnel network, obviously, as everybody knows. But I don't care. I don't want to get into the weeds on this. The $1 million question is like, what can we do? Now, it's obviously insanely difficult
as Americans,
to say.
I think we can stop aid immediately. I mean, obviously, it's not going to happen under Trump.
I'm in favor of that, by the way.
Okay. I mean, good.
I mean, I think
we should call for all aid to be ceased, and I think we should stop protecting them in the
What
UN.
should have Israel done on October 8th, I guess? Like, what would have been an appropriate response for their government?
I mean,
without saying not this.
What should they have done on October 8th? I mean, I think that they're hitting strategic sites to attempt to take out leadership. They should have, but let's talk.
Well, the leadership was underground.
Yeah, to look at that, that moment in history, like maybe it was.
I disagree because they had to do something.
Maybe in that moment.
It's like real cheesy to say, but this is for sure like one of the issues of our time. Like this is unfolding. It's like if we were watching fucking,
frankly,
the Vietnam War happened, but with streaming and all that shit. It's pretty crazy.
of oppressing people and attempting to bring this to an eventuality.
Right.
I mean, this was.
And so, what should they have done?
Ages ago. Well, I mean,
you're avoiding, yeah.
Okay, I think what they should have done is begun empowering.
It is interesting seeing Ethan kind of
the West Bank
actually open up though, and not.
My favorite answer, Sam,
and not be too confrontational. But
what Hassan told me, they should disband their government and lift the borders in response to the worst terrorist attack that's ever happened.
He brings up Hassan again.
when you see that your policies have failed. But I don't think
you actually don't believe that that's a real thing, though.
Yeah, I think it's interesting when Ethan starts bringing up Hassan. That's kind of like what's on the top of his mind that he really cares about, honestly, if anything, when it comes to this whole show right here, talking to Sam Sedar. But fuck it, man. Fuck it. It is what it is. He's got the tux on. He's looking fly. This is where he stands, and I mean, what else could you really argue for in terms of like the content creator side? It's like when it's real issues, fuck it. At least they're actually talking about it, and they might not know shit, but at least somebody's out here doing it. So, man, I do see that Hassan was talking about it on his broadcast, which is kind of interesting. New levels of meta, of course, but yeah, it's kind of where the conversation is right now, and fuck, it's definitely interesting to see this shit pop off live, because it's like, what the fuck, man? What the fuck is going on around here for sure? And all like the chat, the members and stuff, they're kind of on the H3 side, of course. They are paid subscribers, but when it comes to the whole politics side, that's where it gets pretty tricky, because Ethan is for sure on the side of Israel, which makes sense. That's his heritage, that's his background. But fuck, man, it's like, at least they could talk about it. At least they could talk about it in some form or fashion for sure. But where does this all go is kind of what I'm thinking about. Ethan is too consumed with Hassan. He needs to concentrate on the real issues that he's always standing on, and he's lost his way, unfortunately. That's kind of true in a way, and it really is kind of insane to watch this shit. Watch this shit like live pop off. It's fucking crazy, man. And yeah, for sure, you just gotta like have your own take on it. That's it, and that's really all I'm doing is just fucking watching it. This shit's just like a trip. It's like there's no other way to put it, for sure. There's just so much conversations. It's just like crazy going on at the same time.
Or an entire family or whatnot. So you tell me, Ethan, if you're the one with the perspective on this, and mine is fantastical, what should they have done that would have been appropriate?
So I'm gonna check out the Hassan side of this, even though he's kind of
in your mind
doing the same shit. He's like talking over it, and he's obviously gonna be the one who is talking to Ethan later on in the week, so that's kind of interesting to see as well. If we could get this shit to stream, I mean, fuck. But it looks like a productive conversation so far, and hopefully they can come to some kind of agreement.
So besides like special operations and stuff, I think it would have been a good idea to, I think there's a space where they could like try to find peace partners in Gaza before just destroying the whole thing. Like obviously they approached it completely wrong, right? But there are ways I think that could have happened that are realistic, like trying to forge some kind of
the principal negotiator who had never actually held a fucking weapon. They killed him in Tehran. This is ridiculous.
They were marching in the Great March of Return, week after week after week.
Sam, was there Hamas activity at the Great March?
Sinwar was marching. Sinwar was marching with them.
Were people attacking the border wall?
During the Great March of Return, the first like dozens of these things before the snipers, no, they weren't. So there were the people for peace.
Hamas activity at the Great
There
March
was
of Return.
Hamas activity.
Fuck.
They were attacking the fence. They were like trying to cross the border.
They were
But not
attacking
militants.
It's kind of a trip seeing how passionate
trying to
Hassan's
cross the
getting
border.
right now. What the fuck? I didn't expect to see this side
You're
of the
telling
broadcast.
me that in the first dozen of these
Ethan
marches,
is
there were
now
people attacking the
functionally
fence?
defending
Correct.
sniping like paramedics at the Great March of Return, for the record. That's what he is de facto
But I mean,
defending.
again,
Sniper rifles.
I think that there's a way for Israel to try. I think they can obviously pursue peace. The way
Please
that they're
don't
doing
go
it is
there.
impossible, right? Like it's fucked up. It's insane. It's genocidal. It's horrific.
They're not pursuing peace.
I'm not saying.
They're not
I'm saying the
pursuing peace.
opposite,
I don't
Sam.
think Israel is
Well, you
pursuing
asked me
peace.
what should they have done. I mean, obviously
Yes.
they're not pursuing peace. I agree with you. Like quite the opposite. That's not what they're doing. But I'm saying there could have been a path, although it's not. It's. I think, unfortunately, I think their response was inevitable based on everything that happened.
You think it was inevitable that they would kill these many people and they would use food supplies as a weapon, that they would have leveled hospitals and universities and 80-90% of the homes? I mean, how
I don't know to what extent, but like a huge response was definitely inevitable. I'm not justifying it, Sam. You asked me a question. I'm answering it. You're putting this on me like I'm saying.
No. I'm just saying inevitability. I wonder
right here.
what you must think of an Israeli body
Sam had all the
politic
history and
where
context
this
of
level
Ethan's
of
points.
atrocity is inevitable.
Well, you described your and Hamas's understanding of the IDF. I wouldn't say that.
Sam is a
I can't say to what
self-hating Jew?
extent,
What the
but you
fuck?
agree that a huge response was inevitable.
I listen. I believe a response that was inevitable by Israel, and that is because I have a much more
There's some
theoretically jaded
crazy takes in
view
this chat.
of that country and their agenda, I think, than you. But like to expect that what they've done is inevitable.
To
you
what?
can't-
Well, Sam,
Hassan and Ethan are like
I mean,
lovers.
I just
That's a
wonder,
trip,
like,
bro.
what it is that you think is in that body politic? Like, listen, like I don't think it's inevitable. Just to use an example in this country,
Bro.
I don't think that it's inevitable that we are going to
Bruh.
be deporting and disappearing, immigrants in this country. I think it's possible, but my perspective on America is still too optimistic to think that's inevitable.
Yeah, of course there's crazy takes in here. Like you, chum guzzler. You came in here. It's not inevitable.
Locked. And I think
all you need to do is follow for 10 minutes. His chat is all fucking paid members and subscribers. Don't you think that there's a major difference there? I don't safeguard myself from the opinions of people like you, chum guzzler 22.
Holy shit.
Yeah, no shit.
Certainly, I was
damn, bro.
Exposing them more than the American population writ large.
This chat is members only.
To perceive what we did in Iraq as inevitable.
It's a different situation. That's completely, that was completely unpredictable. But we kind of touched on it.
No,
and again, to what end this even matters is it doesn't ultimately. But Hamas knew that they were going to bomb the fuck out of Gaza.
Listen, I would imagine Hamas thought there was going to be a response, but they wouldn't have taken hostages if they thought that they couldn't use those hostages.
Of course, they thought they could. I don't deny that. Yeah.
Of deterring Israel from entering, and that was a miscalculation on their part. They presumed that Israel was more interested in those hostages.
I'm surprised that Hassan hasn't hopped into the call already. It's like, holy shit.
And that's part of what a lot of the civil unrest in Israel is about, is that a lot of people do care about the hostages and think that the government needs to stop the war and focus on getting the hostages back and not killing innocent civilians. So that there is
I wonder about that last
Sam
part.
Sedar, what a fucking nightmare, but with Ethan saying
which part?
The part about the killing of innocent civilians. I think that
I said that's what they're doing.
No. I'm saying I wonder if the Israeli body politic.
Oh, you think the Israelis want civilians to die?
I think the Israelis. Obviously not all Israelis.
There's definitely
but
a lot
I think
of,
that
there are definitely a lot of Israelis that do want the Israeli civilians to die, and certainly the Gazan civilians to die as well.
To maintain this government.
Yes.
Believe
that's what the polls
that,
say. Ethan loves his polls when he's
Palestinians in
talking about
Gaza,
Zionism.
That their lives have no value, that they are all future enemies, that they that they all represent the threat to
Sam?
Israel. And I think that's
Sam, speak for everyone.
I think that's
They're so mad at Sam Sedar. They literally
a twisted perspective.
Before this conversation took place, I need you to understand. Their subreddit was talking about how Ethan should Sam Sedar me because they thought that Ethan and Sam Sedar would be in agreement with one another.
People in a
and now
country
they're
that's
fucking calling him
relatively
a
small.
self-hating Jew
So
and
I
shit.
think characterizing like the majority of
audacity.
the public as wanting to kill civilians is a little sick, personally. But
I feel Ethan is far less extremist than
I'm basing this on conversations with
you feel that way because he was trying to present.
I will say on the H3 broadcast, when you're watching it, it's not too confrontational. Right now, they are getting at it in the politics side, but Hassan is really adding kind of like his coverage to it and really amplifying the political takes. It's kind of interesting. I thought he'd be a little bit more laxed, but he's getting really passionate about all the shit that's being said. What the fuck? It's a trip.
Not
for sure.
all Israelis, but look, I can make analogous assessments of the United States at various times about things that reflect poorly on our national body politic as well. But the proof is in the pudding.
Can I tell you something? 300,000 protesters in Tel Aviv, 200,000 in the rest of the country. That's 500,000 people out in the street protesting the government of a country that has like 6 million or 5 million in the.
Are you talking about the protests about the judiciary?
I'm talking about the.
That's what he's talking about. Those weren't
to release the hostages.
No, the hostage protests
to release
weren't
the
that
hostages.
big.
Yeah.
But even, I don't think the hostage protests were that big, but it doesn't matter. It was
Ceasefire,
pretty large.
ceasefire,
But
Sam.
those
That's what
people
that means.
literally still turned around and, according to the polls, said they want the violence to continue in Gaza. They just want to stop it for now.
Or they were calling for a release of the hostages.
Well, what's the point of telling Hamas to release the hostages? Yeah, of course it's a ceasefire, Sam.
Well, but Israel has to, and I know I'll look this up.
Deal with this.
I don't have much
500,000
time.
Israel.
Wait. Let's look this up and see how many times the Israeli government has said
it's a trip how there's
return of the
only two
hostages
men
will
talking
not-
and there's so many different opinions, food for thought, so many different interactions happening right now. There's like probably over 100,000 people just fucking typing up in there, and it's a trip to watch that for sure.
The latest ceasefire. Okay, where is the political response from the Israeli people? I mean, the idea
Wait, is this
that
Israelis or Israeli
Gazans can be
Jews?
held responsible for an election that happened 18 years ago.
Sam, you
when
said the
half the
majority of
population is
Israelis
living-
want civilians to die.
That's
I think the majority of Israelis do not have a problem with what's going on in Gaza. That is my
I think that
from
unfortunately
May
might be
30th.
true to the extent that they've gotten
Well, then we agree.
About
they've
right,
gotten
not
much
gone
more
far enough,
radical.
39% to
Unfortunately,
34%.
tragically, everybody's been a lot more radicalized since
That's
October
what I'm-
7th.
that's what I'm
and that's
saying.
tragic. I agree. I think people in Israel are jaded and they are cynical and they don't care, like you said, and I think it's tragic.
Yes, well, that's what my contention was. I mean,
Yeah, so
I'm
why
looking
are
at
you
something
defending
from
that,
May.
Ethan?
I wouldn't say
Uh,
most of them want to kill civilians, though.
Well, I think that they don't.
And
care.
I wouldn't say that there isn't a sizable portion of the of Israeli citizenry that want a ceasefire. When 500,000 people, Sam,
Dude, Ethan should
marched
talk to
down
an
on the
Israeli
street of a country of
anti-Zionist.
5
It will
million
probably
for a
melt him.
ceasefire.
Okay. Ethan
This
should
Pew
talk to
research,
like a
39.
Fortunately, it looks like they're kind of really able to have a conversation, which at least is happening about these issues, and they're not getting into the dogfight just yet, but they are for sure getting pretty aggressive with each other in terms of their tone, right?
About their own
I would
country.
hope. But you know, that's all the
Yeah,
most
it's
recent
horrible.
Or
data.
maybe he should
Yeah,
talk
no,
to a
I know,
therapist.
I know.
Honestly, I don't know
I
why he's doing
know
all this.
that the
because
sentiment
if
there-
it's going the way
40%
he
last
thought
year
it
said
was,
that Israelis should govern the Gaza Strip.
All these combos are really just who is right instead of figuring out how to fix the issue. It's all he said. He said, she said, yeah, for sure. I guess that's why when you watch the 3 talk or the 2 talk, that's where it kind of boils down to is they're kind of speaking for a lot of these different communities, right? It's a trip. And
truthfully, the situation is so fucked
Wow.
up that
Wow.
like
yeah, it's just really
it
fucked
just
up.
feels hopeless sometimes. But
Well,
It
I guess you're
certainly
conceding.
does. But in the meantime, you know, in this country, and we may not have the opportunity for a while, but we should cease all aid to Israel. We should stop protecting them in the UN. We should stop trying to pressure the ICJ and the ICC. And that's, you know.
well, incidentally, I agree with all those things too. I think
Oh,
that
do
that's
you?
the most we can do as a country to try to stop
what
the
do you
war.
disagree
and
with
it's
me on,
something that
Ethan?
we should be
I mean,
doing.
there are some significant
you know,
disagreements,
and,
even that you brought
I think
up in
Kamala
this
Harris would have been a
conversation.
lot more likely to do something on that front. You know, certain
we won't know.
we can't know, and that's the
no.
great thing.
Well, listen, I appreciate the time. I gotta go because I'm
Absolutely.
supposed to have dinner for my child. But,
Well, I'll say this. This was way more combative than I expected. Ultimately, though, I don't think that we... what do we disagree on? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe I see too much good in the Israeli population. I mean, I don't know
Dude,
what's
he's
the
trying
ultimately
he's trying
the
to get a clip.
disagreements
He's
here.
trying to farm it. See?
Well, I mean, look, I'm not. It's largely, in my mind, you know, impossible to really fully assess. I mean, yes, there was a protest.
I really appreciate that they're
500,000
actually talking to one another. They're not just
hostages back,
bullying each other. They're
no,
actually
he's
trying to
doing
have a
everything.
conversation.
Well,
I think
they
that's
wanted the hostages back.
refreshing
I don't
for
know.
sure.
It's
How
not a
we can-
magic wand. It's a ceasefire.
Yeah, and they got a ceasefire, and then the Israeli government broke it, and they.
Well, so hold on.
I don't
Our
see people
disagreements
pouring
is that
into the street.
I'm too optimistic about the Israeli
I,
No,
citizen.
listen,
no.
I'm not here to adjudicate.
Maybe I spoke too soon. Oh,
what
shit.
I'm just trying to
differences
summarize our
are on
conversation. That's all.
No,
Well,
he's
I
just
mean,
trying to get a
you
clip.
summarize for you. I'll summarize for me. I think that, like, you know, it is what it is. And you know, you know, I think I don't, you know, remember this conversation. We could put into AI and have it summarize it, but I, you know.
I'll do that for you, and I'll let you know what it says.
All right.
Okay,
thank
we'll
you. I
leave it to
appreciate
the
that.
robots.
Okay.
Sam, I do appreciate you calling in. I do value your input on all this.
Okay.
And, I appreciate the conversation. I think it's good to have, conversations like this, like open and honest, even if they're combative. And I think ultimately on the larger points we agree, but we managed to find things to fight about anyway. And that's what two Jews do, isn't it, Sam?
That happens. That's my understanding. Appreciate it. All right, take it easy, man.
Have a great time with your children at dinner there. Enjoy.
Ooh. I mean, I'll have the convo.
Take it easy. Hey, yo. Honestly, it's refreshing to see the conversation at least end on that note. Not just like a banter fest, not just a fuck you to one another, but wow. A breath of fresh air for sure, but they definitely did not have a complete agreement on a lot of the things that they were talking about. At the end, they came to heritage, right? They were able to relate on that, but at least they ended the call cordially, right? Or cordial in a professional manner, right? Holy shit, man, that's crazy.
Of me.
But the truthfully is like, again, on the larger points we agree. That's why I take cross with this issue of being like, he's a genocide supporter, he's a fucking baby killer, and all this insane. He goes, Sam, you never heard of hyperbole? Yeah, I've heard of hyperbole. It's fuck. You're
the king of hyperbole.
Yeah. So I mean, like, is my downfall that I have too much faith or I have too much optimism in the Israeli
He has too much optimism
citizenry?
for Israel.
Maybe.
That's his downfall. It's because he's too kind, dude.
The most.
That was his downfall. He's too hopeful for a better tomorrow.
I think watching Hassan live as well, you could see he is definitely more of the energetic voice in the politics side, and that's why it will be interesting to see their conversation, H3 versus hasanabi, because Sam Sedar and H3, it seems like they had their disagreements, their differences, but they were able to end the call and walk away. But right here, we're watching Hassan get pretty heated, epic gamer moment, and I don't know if it's gonna go the same way for these two fools.
Be honest in this moment instead of fucking constantly feeding into his narcissism. Oh my god.
Hassan, which is fine. I understand he doesn't want to get into that game, right?
This makes me so sad because Dan was a fucking massive hasanabi head. Like I thought he was like a radical guy. I thought
honestly, I greatly disagree with him, and I think it's kind of.
Someone needs to someone that Ethan trusts.
It's funny how he talks about how
real conversation with him.
Call out anti-Semitism or how ridiculous it is for me to weaponize it like that. It's like
You've been watching H3 since they started, and since October 7th, they caused some major damage to his personality. For sure, I could see why you would say that. I've been watching him since like the Vape Nation days, and I still watch the podcast, but it is a little uncomfortable to see how it gets nowadays with their coverage about certain issues, and it's kind of a shocking moment to see all of this kind of unfold right now, like today for sure.
But like that is a component of all of this. That
well, and unfortunately, whatever Sam's been peppered with before the debate, I've seen is his co-host telling him that I'm obsessed with Hassan, that I'm having a mental
you really
health
showed that
break,
you're not
that
obsessed
I'm
by fucking showing clip chimps of me to him to be like, you should disagree with it, putting words in my mouth.
But ultimately, I find I don't want to speak ill of Sam, right? I appreciate him coming and having an honest conversation with me. I was also disappointed by his response to that specific line of questioning, Zach. I share that.
Ethan is focusing too much on trying to win the debate instead of having a rational conversation with another human being.
He was hand-waving away anti-Semitism as like, it doesn't matter that people are.
That's good though. They were able to end the convo, right? They were able to keep going, so that's good, and just walk away. That's all good.
The reason why anti-Semitism is skyrocketing in this fucking country, as it always does whenever Israel does sieges. That is why attacking people like myself, dangerous conflation, and never even give an inch to that dangerous conflation, should not be your enemy. It should be people that actually consistently say Zionism and Judaism are actually directly associated with one another. It is people like yourself, Ethan, that participate in this dangerous conflation, that feed into the anti-Semitic tendencies of people.
Anti-Semitism, what isn't, and you know, when you're
there's never been a moment where I've considered anti-Semitism to be even remotely permissible.
And that's where I see the hasanabi side, is that he's been the
against anti-Semitism
target
my whole fucking career.
He's been the target from the H3 show's perspective, he's been the one that they want to get banned. They want to show that he's the bad one, but they kind of came to an agreement, I guess you could say, or agree to disagree, Sam Sedar and H3. So hopefully that could happen with Hasanabi, but it doesn't seem like that might happen.
I'm not Jewish, so I found it interesting that you guys are having this conversation to give both perspectives. One thing I kind of wish is that you guys both could have defined
Like, see,
what
these are the
Zionism
freaks.
is.
Those are the
like what
fucking
you,
freaks.
Yes, Hassan has to make it about drama to get more clout. These two will never agree to disagree. For sure, it's like, what the fuck is going on here, man? What the fuck?
Zionist
But they get
tendencies.
banned off the
That's
fucking
why I think it's
platform for
important to
doing
ask
fuck
Sam,
shit like this.
who I think is
This
avoiding
not
the
an
question,
opinion
frankly,
that
because he knows that
this
it
is
looks
not an
bad. He
opinion
doesn't
that
want to
anyone in
answer.
this community
So
would
he
ever
responds by
fucking
saying,
abide by,
like,
even for
oh,
an
you think
inch,
this
even for a
matters? Let's
second.
not talk about
Shit,
the
man.
specific of what Zionist tendency is,
Scumbags.
because clearly Hassan's not anti-Semitic. Obviously, he doesn't have
You've
the
called me a
context. And by
vile
the way,
anti-Semite for a year.
I'm still willing to give Hassan the benefit of the doubt that he's not anti-Semitic, right?
What are you talking
But
about?
Once again, as I've stated,
You are?
yeah, I'm willing to.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
willing to-
because
but
you
that's-
called me a
that's
vile
progress.
anti-Semite
That's
for
progress
a
for
year now.
sure.
So gracious.
He's
You know
very
I'm not an
comfortable
anti-Semite.
fostering a
Bro, look
community
at
that is
Ethan's kind of actually coming to an agreement of some sorts. What the fuck? And Hassan is still upset. Obviously, I mean,
hateful, anti-Semitic.
oh shit.
He's comfortable, expressing these ideas irresponsibly the way he communicates, which is what that clip displays, I think.
Oh my
So
god.
while I don't think he's anti-Semitic,
I'm
I think he's responsible
You're
for
irresponsible.
perpetuating a lot of it.
You're irresponsible with the ways in which you have defended Israel's actions by presenting it as like Hamas instigating this genocide. That is not only irresponsible, that is morally repugnant.
That would impugn Hassan. Because frankly,
We know what he
there's
means
really
with
nothing
Zionist tendency.
positive
What
to
do you
say
mean?
about what he did.
Zionism
And
is
so Sam
fascism.
took the I guess
Any
if you
tendency
want to talk
towards
about
Zionism
debate, and
is
Sam's a
exactly
great
the
debater,
same as a
right?
tendency towards fascism. That
You-
is what I
we-
believe.
Let's
everybody
go,
knows that.
Hassan. Let it rip.
He's a great
Aye.
conversationalist.
Aye,
He
aye,
doesn't
aye.
really get the best of. Nobody really gets the best of him in conversation.
Why is Ethan in
I mean, the
Breaking
only
Bad
way
right now?
he
He'd
could
just
really
rather
take that
stay
on was to be
silent?
like, it doesn't matter,
Maybe Sam
the
Sedar
totality
did
of
talk
things.
some
So that's
sense
the
into
road
this,
he took.
man.
I
Holy
was
shit.
disappointed by
harder
that
now?
as
Yeah,
well.
of course I'm fuming. I'm fuming
But
because
at the end of
my
the day,
fucking former podcast
I knew
co-host
it was
has
unlikely
slandered me
that
for a
he was gonna
goddamn
say
year,
that
trying to get me
thing about Hassan.
deplatformed.
I was
Got my friends
specifically trying
deplatformed.
not to
Got
even go there.
pro-Palestinian voices
In fact, when I showed him
deplatformed
that
at a
first
time
video,
when
I
the
was talking
American
about
fascist government is literally
Imagine two
actively
old
trying
ladies
to
on the
revoke the
porch
First Amendment rights of all Americans inevitably.
Drinking
by
lemonade
using
and
Israel as a
arguing about
talking
ice
point,
cubes.
By using Israel as a way to enter the conversation.
That's
by
kinda where
entering-
it's at right
by
now,
using
huh?
Israel to enter the precedent into the Constitution
Fuck.
to completely erode people's First Amendment rights. This will not just harm people like myself. It will harm you as well in the end. This is my argument.
So here's what I'll say about Israel.
Now
okay?
he's just like talking about how now he's just gonna rewatch like how pro-Palestine he is to this audience that's watching. Of course I'm gonna fucking fume. The reason why I'm fuming is because he is doing Hasbara. The reason why I'm fuming is because even in his most he tried to use this as an opportunity, thinking that he was going to actually agree with Sam Sedar, that Sam Sedar was going to be like, oh, wow, it seems like you're super pro-Palestine. Why are people calling you anti-Palestine? It seems like you might be getting attacked by anti-Semites. That's what he thought was going to happen, so he could use that clip on fucking Friday. That was his big smoking gun, okay? I assumed that was his big smoking gun, or maybe he was going to try to bring Dan Saltman on or Destiny on in the hopes that I get banned, which I will, by the way. If Dan Saltman or Destiny appears on Friday when we have this
To be fair, it looks like Ethan is kind of winded down
conversation,
from
if Ethan is still willing and able
the
to do it, I
conversation,
will get
but
banned. He knows that, which is precisely the reason
now
why
it's kind
I
of
assume
Hassan
he will
who's
try to
really
bring them
upset
forward,
still, which
just
makes
as I
sense.
called
It makes
this
sense.
Initially. Just
Yeah,
as
he-
I called what was going to take
He's
place
got to
in this
breathe a little
conversation
bit for
initially.
sure. We all got to
I'm telling
breathe.
you right now, if he tries to, oh my God, Sam Sedar me, what a fucking nightmare, with like a person that has been banned, I won't be able to have this conversation with him. I will have to exit out of this conversation because Twitch will absolutely ban me. I know for a fucking fact. Okay?
That's fair. That's fair.
So, no,
Take a Zen pouch.
I already have. I've already talked to my Twitch rep. I did. Shut the fuck up. I did already. I know. They said, no, you will get banned.
What the fuck?
Do you understand?
Yeah, we understand. I wonder if you like watch the same shit that we all watch, because Ethan did kind of back down, and I guess it's not easy to expect a broadcaster like Hasanabi to
If he tries some
back
fuck shit
down,
like
but
that, I
he
assume
is
this was a
still
two-parter.
very
This was a
upset.
two-parter. I suspect that he was initially going to try to get any clip that shows Sam Sedar agreeing with him to be like, see, your ordained designated Jew agrees with me, or something along those lines, and then be like, why do you call me pro-Israel? Okay, that's what he thought he was going to be able to get. It didn't happen. So now I assume his second smoking gun is to probably bring up like Destiny or Dan Saltman in it with the hopes that I get banned. Because if I don't back out of that conversation, I get banned. If I back out of that conversation when that happens, he will go, oh, you ran away from Destiny. You're so scared. You're just like Steven Crowder. And that's the problem.
Damn.
Okay? He is going to try to present it. I'm telling you right now, if he tries to do some shit like that, that means he doesn't want to have a real conversation with me on this issue. That he's going to try to pull some shtick because he knows that he can't have this real conversation with me. Okay? Just
That's
like
fair.
he thought that
Maybe
Sam Sedar would agree with him.
Maybe he's gonna try to attack him on the content creator side of it and just leave all the politics out, because with Hassan, he is more like the he's a political broadcaster, but he could really get at him in terms of like the content creator, all of like the podcast bro stuff, and that's where Ethan kind of really doesn't like Hassan. But it seems like Ethan kind of backed down a little bit. Who knows? What the fuck? We're just watching
Especially
it.
when we're comparing it to
We're just a viewer.
16 months of endless bombing,
Viewers.
child murder.
Yeah. Damn.
He saw through Ethan,
I think that's part
and he
of
didn't
what
get what he
really
wanted
jaded
across.
the
So
Israeli
now I think he's going to be
public, too, is
petty
like,
and try to get me banned.
Oh.
Look what
Or
happens
in an
when
effort
you
for
wanna
myself to
support
preserve
peace.
myself in this
Obviously,
situation,
that's-
and I back away, I click out
obviously
when
that's
he
not,
does the
I don't
Destiny
think, the
thing,
right conclusion,
then
but that
he's
was
gonna
their
say, "Oh, you
conclusion,
ran
that all
away."
people that wanted peace were murdered by Hamas.
See, like I have, friends or family even that will say that they don't believe there's an innocent Israeli, and I think obviously stuff like that is super dangerous, and
I agree.
I'll never
Thank
agree
you.
with that. But in terms of like, the Pew research is often what's referenced, and again, Sam brought that up, that there was only 19% of people.
Can't you do it
in May.
offline? Are you fucking insane? You think I would let Ethan control the narrative and manipulate the footage by doing it offline? No, of course I'm gonna fucking stream my side. Why would I do that? What are you guys talking about? No, dual streaming to YouTube is not the same, okay? And I can't get permission from the CEO. Contrary to what people think, Dan does not fucking listen to my demands, okay? That's not a thing. They've already explained that I will get banned.
But Ethan's intentions cannot be trusted, as he's fooled so many debaters pretending to have valued conversation and then turn on them. So I could see why Hassan is concerned. Yeah, exactly. And now it's up to see what the fuck is gonna happen with that. As a viewer, we kind of watched how Sam Sedar approached H3 and the way he was bringing up his arguments, clipping like Hassan and stuff. He kind of got that out of the way. He said, nah, let's talk about the politics. But yeah, for sure, it is up in the air.
Of the past year, if I'm making the most charitable assessment that is like literally impossibly charitable here, he simply doesn't know what he's talking about, and he has people in his ear that's constantly fucking feeding him wrong information, and he's just regurgitating that because it pairs perfectly with his narcissistic tendencies. Ethan Klein has been a victim of anti-Semitic smears and anti-Semitic attacks his entire career. This is not something that I would ever, this is not something that is in dispute, okay? This is something that I know. This is something that I've brought up over and over again. Now he thinks the real anti-Semitic shit that he has received is now paired up with people who are anti-Zionist within his own community, and he can't let that go. He thinks all of this is a direct consequence of people saying that he's a Zionist because he's a Jew. Oh, I've said the right things. Why do you still get mad at me? I've said the right things. Why do you still get mad at me? I'm simply making a joke about Aaron Bushnell. I've said the right things. Why are you still getting mad at me? Why are you leaving my community? It must be because some guy is out there feeding information and radicalizing this audience, radicalizing my audience. It must be Hassan. And it's really interesting that he said this, he's inferred this, he's implied this over and over again. And for the first year after our podcast ended, up until October of last year, October of 2024, Up until October of 2024, I consistently defended Ethan. Up until he started going after actively and getting and successfully deplatforming pro-Palestinian advocates, I did not say a single thing. I defended him because I didn't know. I thought his initial October 7 response was sufficient. I thought he probably has a little bit of liberal Zionism in him, okay? But he is amenable. He is someone who has a heart. He is open-minded. He is open-minded to someone like myself who I believe he trusts.
For sure, Hassan is kind of reminding everybody about how Ethan has been acting up for the past year. And honestly, that's reminding me that just one conversation probably isn't going to change a lot of the ideas, a lot of the thoughts that he has about Hassan and the whole community. He's probably still going to go back to his drawing board and probably try to make it fit his narrative. But like another chatter said in here, it is something to be concerned about for sure. I mean, yeah, one conversation can't really change the man when he's already deep in his suit, deep in this new kind of version of himself. And yeah, it's really unfortunate for sure. Damn. And he's right now.
And by the way,
he's typing in the chat. Fuck.
Who won popular vote? He only won because he made a coalition with some psychopath.
Hassan is a fake. Hassan, stop telling your chat we fuck with Destiny. Please don't try to bring a banned person on.
When I voted, won the popular vote.
I will
because of the parliamentary system where you make coalitions to get over 50%.
Leave the conversation.
Honestly, why is Twitch even like that? Like, just because you have another person on, they fucking ban the non-banned person. That does not make any sense whatsoever. But I mean, I guess terms and conditions, that's what you sign off for, right? The TOS, fuck that shit, man. I mean, damn, why is it like that? It's like some type of policing or some shit of conversations, but it makes sense. Fuck. Obviously, if they're saying like heinous shit, then yeah, get them banned. But if they're just talking, then what the fuck? He just shows his face and then they ban him. Yeah, Hassan could stream on YouTube. That's true. There's so many other platforms right now. That's very true.
Look at these fucking freaks. Hassan party with a Diddy at a brothel. What the fuck is this statement, dude? These people are brain broken.
But ultimately, I think that's ultimately where...
How about Boner Box? I mean, I don't care about that. He's not banned, so who gives a shit? I assume he will... I don't think he's going to have this conversation with me directly, okay? I don't think he's going to have this conversation with me directly. I think he's going to try and desperately bring someone else on to either get me banned,
Same
or
crap with
to
Dr.
have
Disrespect for sure, yeah.
Because he knows that this conversation will not be... this conversation will not go in his direction, will not go the way he wants it to. Every time.
Damn. For sure, it's tricky. It makes sense if they have like
claim there's anti-Semitism in the
some
community,
crazy types of conversations, but they're just gonna talk to each other. It's just like one man versus one man. So or
in our
two
chat,
versus
man.
three. Who knows?
I can talk now or Friday. I don't care. Up to you. Please don't try to bring a band. Bro, don't worry. I'm not doing that. You're afraid I'm gonna bring on Destiny? That's stupid. I'm not gonna do that. Stop.
Oh my god!
I promise you, Hassan.
It's not just Destiny. It's
I will
Dan
not bring on
Saltman as well.
Destiny.
He's
In
also
fact, the
banned.
people here will not allow me to bring on Destiny.
No Dan Saltman either.
Honest.
And it's not because
You know,
I'm
I'm gonna
afraid of
take
them.
that.
I can't. I will get banned. I need people to understand.
Hopefully they
This is
respect
not-
that.
This is because
He's
I will
replying
get
to him.
banned. If he brings on Sam Hyde or Dan Saltman or Destiny, I will get banned instantly. Okay?
I mean, so many people dislike Hassan that they
And I
want him
didn't
to
even
get
name
banned.
Destiny in
But
that.
if
The
they
reason why-
actually respect that, then that would be at least a healthy conversation. But either way, it's probably not gonna go that healthy, right? They're probably gonna get in the mud with it. Oh man, like Hassan hasn't backed down at all. He's not like, oh okay, like.
What I was saying was, I'm not an expert. Finding
Damn.
I was wrong saying that support for a two-state solution was at a high. Looks like it kind of plateaued around 55% throughout the 2010s, but it was at a high in 2010 of 71% of Israelis. supported a two-state solution.
If they could leave out the political chat and just talk to normal people, they might meet halfway. Hassan's been doing this political talking for years, a lot more than Ethan. Exactly, and that's the thing about Hassan. He's very articulate. He could always go to the books. He's done his homework. He's done a lot of that studying, and a lot of just normal people that just chat about daily things aren't really armed with a lot of that knowledge, and Hassan does have a lot of that information on his back pocket for sure. So maybe they could just come together as former co-hosts, but pause on that. Holy shit.
If Aiden Ross was in a YouTube video that someone was watching, they wouldn't get banned. In the past, they would have, but Twitch changed that policy. Not a permaban though, more of a suspension. Yeah, but why the fuck would I entertain
Ethan is a
that?
podcaster,
What are you talking about?
comedian for sure.
It's considered ban evasion.
Yeah, he's
okay. It's considered
for sure on the comedian side of things.
To have a banned streamer on your stream, to talk to a banned streamer. The chatter you pulled up earlier for being a Nazi was nuked off the website permanently about 30 seconds later. For your information, so much for this community plus the Twitch platform allowing anti-Semitism. Exactly.
Fuck.
Anyway, now let's get back to an actual W. Might be Boner Box though, because he had that dumbass on previously. Yeah, I don't care about that. I don't have an issue with that. But you know, that was a productive conversation from our perspective, and I hope it was productive for some in Ethan's community to actually see that, because I saw posts about people saying like, oh, Ethan and Sam Sedar should just join up in arms and attack Hassan. Like, they were so delusional. And the question here, this is a very important jump off point for many of you. Okay? This is a very important jump off point. If you're in here from Ethan's community, why did you have that perspective? What have you consumed so far, and how sheltered were you from the truth that you thought that someone like myself and someone like Sam Sedar would not be almost entirely aligned on this issue? You have to remember. You have to think about that. This is a moment of self-reflection, because many people...
Self-reflecting for sure is a big part of this, and it really shows you how influential the H3 broadcast is. I mean, they completely created a brand off of their recognition, Teddy Fresh, and it just shows how influential his voice is. Ethan, Ela, all them, and they were able to even get into the minds of a lot of people and make them side with one another. So there is definitely a level of reflection here.
He's been presenting a false narrative about me, as he tried to do against Sam Sedar as well, and he has presented a false narrative about Sam Sedar as well.
Fuck. This is kind of like the prelude for sure, the prelude to Friday, but it's productive to watch it.
Please.
Self-reflect. Damn. Nah.
What's the false narrative?
Somewhat productive for
sure. The number one false
sure.
narrative is one that he already backtracked in the aftermath of this conversation, where he says, oh, maybe Hassan is not an anti-Semite, but he actually allows anti-Semitism or something. And that's like a new meta. He has called me a vile, vicious, rabid anti-Semite over and over again, knowing full well that I do not have an anti-Semitic bone in my fucking body. It's bullshit. And it's ironically enough that I'm being called an anti-Semite by him, while for specifically my advocacy against anti-Semitism. Every time I am decoupling Israel, Zionism, and Judaism, I'm actually working against anti-Semitism. Every time Ethan brings that conversation back to, well, all Jews are Zionists, he is making that dangerous conflation that is creating more anti-Semitism.
And that's a fair point.
No, that was the only point he had.
He's been doing that. He's been creating those types of stories about Hassan and other creators. I mean, that's what the whole content nuke was. Not to forget, he made an entire nuke, now that I'm remembering, and fuck, yeah, I mean, how could you forget? But yeah, the way Ethan and Sam Sedar were talking, it makes it seem like, oh, all things can be okay now, but he's done so much that it's kind of hard to know if it will ever be okay, right? It's a big rift in their whole careers for sure. Damn, bro. Damn. So just imagine being a millionaire and acting like school children on the net, fighting over a pink shovel instead of working together and understanding each other's thoughts. Yeah. That's a good way to put it, man. And it really does look like there's some productive conversations happening now, but there's just been a lot of damage done, and there's just so much that's happened for sure. So much that's happened, so much.
Where I think Sam could have been way more vicious if it wasn't Ethan and someone else. Really wasn't enough time, like the bomb shelter shit.
There's not a single dissenting voice with his fucking straight up radical, anti-American, anti-Semitic fucking.
Bro, I can't believe this man went from dunking on Steven Crowder to saying Steven Crowder ass shit. He's anti-American, radical anti-American.
Now, instead of actually addressing a single point, he stops it before he gets there. He can't.
Lol, Ethan owns Sam, to be honest. I love that. Listen, I'm proud of you. And I think your family is proud of you too. That you
Ethan's
are finally
own
able to
Sam.
dress yourself on your own, and you were able to actually open up an account all on your own and be able to type those words together. I'm proud of you. No, this is a moment that deserves praise and congratulations, okay? Clearly, since the car crash, things were not the same for you, but it seems like you're making great improvements. I mean, it's kind of funny that you're, openly demonstrating that, but it's cool. It's cool that you've done it. You are able to type this stuff on your own, all on your own, without anybody else. Where's your pearls at? Okay, well, you kind of failed on the second point, didn't you? You wrote it correctly the first time.
Oh, shit.
And then all of a sudden, communist, champagne, socialist, Lamau.
Ouch.
Okay. You got it. You're good. I'm proud of you. Again, you're showing that you can even react in real time.
Ooh. Why is he even dishing out with these type of people,
Bro,
man?
I like your content, but you're in the wrong on this, and Ethan made some good points. They attacked a fence. Israel is practically groomed into doing a genocide. Yeah, I know. He's blaming me right now for his failure. Ain't no fucking way, dude. Stop. He's still talking about me? What the fuck? Due to their incredible anti-Semitic
No fucking
opinion.
way. Did he just go back to his old ways and in real time, just like that? He's already. Hey, yo, no fucking way, bro. No fucking way. He just had the talk with Sam Sedar, and he's already going back to how he was viewing Hassan. It's really just Hassan versus H3. That's like the real main issue for the H3 podcast. Like,
And by the
On
way,
every level
you
on
gotta
that
stop
statement.
making predictions because those don't work out for him.
Yeah, I mean, just
You got-
objectively,
That
that
was
is
wrong in
the
every way.
opposite of what played out. So,
But I
Oops.
laugh because he's trying to poison the well ahead of me and Sam agreeing on
what
on
the
everything. Although
fuck?
Sam was not very sweet and lovely. He came out ready to go, and that's good. I'm always ready. But I'll tell you guys, I am brave.
yeah, you've sold us.
I mean, who would go against Sam Sedar willingly, Dan?
Not Steven Crowder.
It's all about Ethan's image, I'm telling you. Yeah.
That one.
I'm not running.
He's
from
looking
nothing
good in the
or
suit for
nobody.
sure.
It ruined Crowder's life.
Carry the load. What?
I said it ruined Crowder's life. Literally, since he did that
It's-
debate.
Yeah.
just-
No, I'm
Oh,
not.
yeah.
I wasn't
almost
kidding when I
died, he
said we
lost his
ruined his
family.
life.
Looking fly for
Yeah,
sure.
because at one point Sam took off his glasses and said, "Steven, look into the camera."
Now they're reminiscing on good times. Maybe that's a good sign.
I mean, we couldn't have predicted that there'd be a scandal where he's abusing his wife on camera.
Right.
But he went from
have
getting
been
a
hard to
$50 million deal on the table to being like a nobody.
Fucking Hassani just walked away. Where'd he go, man? Get some more
What a
zins.
fucking psycho. Anyway,
Hey, man.
Yes.
Some backseating going on
here's-
right now
here's
from my
Hass.
end, but
You've been running away from him. Yeah, I wonder why Ethan Klein won't fucking talk to Sam Sedar. Just like he was too scared to talk to Sam Sedar in private. I'm not ducking Ethan at all. I'll talk to him. Maybe I'll even have Sam Sedar attend.
this just happened like 10 minutes ago.
Right. Yeah.
Perhaps this is why my former podcast host is too afraid to talk to Sam Sedar. Oh my God, bro. This
Hey, yo.
upset-
Wait, what is he saying? Is he showing how brave he is? It took a year for him to
Yeah,
finally talk
but,
to Sam Sedar.
There it is. You got what you wanted, and the people are feasting.
feasting.
Watching
We're watching
two
this
Jewish
shit.
men
We're watching
Wait,
this
duke
shit.
it out about
Wait, it took
minutes.
this motherfucker a year and he got destroyed. What is this?
We agree on.
Damn.
Bro. Oh my God.
Hey,
Oh boy, this doesn't look like it went good, but I don't know if chat can be trusted, no offense.
Hey.
At least it was kind of productive.
A lot of people tuned in for this, huh? 50,000.
He said Sam agreed with everything. Does he not know? Does he not know that Sam Sedar is a whole ass adult with a public profile who will see him just simply saying this stuff? Oh, the cope, man. He literally is saying that him and Sam Sedar agree with everything. Yeah, the cope here is what? Only going to be entertained? Only going to be entertained for a brief moment? Is that what it is? That video was about how he should talk to you, and he only showed you mentioning Sam. I know. He said you were wrong about Sam being nice to him. I think Sam was very nice to him. What? Okay, I think people need to understand something. That was kitty gloves from Sam. Sam also is not like a contentious person. When he debates libertarians, some of the stupidest people on the fucking planet, he will still maintain that same calm demeanor. There's very few instances where I've seen Sam like get rattled. One was against Tim Pool, and the other was unironically against Ethan at a certain point where he was like, why are you consistently conflating Judaism and Zionism?
Yeah, for sure. It was like productive in the way they were talking. They were actually able to have a conversation, but fuck, let's see where this H3 and Hasanabi shit goes. They have that scheduled, so it's kind of it winding down, but kind of ramping up at the same time. So, damn.
Sam is a terror supporter, but you, Ethan, need to do your homework. So much of what he said was pure lies. Okay, I'm sorry, but this has to be someone from Israel. Like, this sounds like someone. He is a supporter of terror. I felt particularly bothered by Ethan's constant "I agree with you" nonsense because it completely neuters the actual critique Sam was attempting to levy. Like, how do you argue with someone when every valid rebuttal is just met with "I agree" and then completely reverted right afterwards? You can't get anywhere. I know. Ethan Klein is doing something that is incredible in this conversation. And what he's doing... Oh, it is shekels. Okay, well... I didn't realize that was the sign for shekel, but I could just tell from the way that he fucking dressed down Sam Sedar, being like, he's a terror supporter.
Yeah, I get like Hassan always goes on the chat and stuff. Well, one thing is like looking at the paid subscribers on YouTube is not really a good indication, I don't think, but I mean it is kind of their whole MO on the H3 podcast, having all those paid subscribers voice their opinions, and it's interesting how he's reacting to a paid subscriber rather than just a conversation that happened about Sam Sedar and H3. But I mean, it is kind of telling what a lot of these folks think about, right?
For the smear campaign, yes. So as long as Sam understands is better than anybody else because he is who he is, he's had opinions that has changed throughout time, and for that very purpose, he understands better than anybody else. I've had private conversations with Sam throughout the past year, not about Ethan, by the way, but just in general about what to do in our personal lives where we have friends, people that we are close to that can find themselves in the throes of radicalization in the aftermath of October 7th, specifically Jewish people, okay? This is something that I've talked to a lot of my Jewish friends about in general. My anti-Zionist Jewish friends are also going through the exact same issues with people that cannot let go of the social conditioning of Zionism, cannot let go of the idea that Zionism is actually supposed to be for good.
Yeah, for sure. Although Sam Sedar and H3 were able to kind of end their conversation without it being too abrasive, there's still the whole backlog of H3 kind of running this whole story about Hassan and all of his orbiters, and all of that negative coverage is just going to have to come to a stop somewhere, or maybe he's just going to keep running with that stuff, and maybe Hassan is the enemy of H3 now forever. But fuck, damn, I'm gonna see where this kind of goes in terms of his broadcast, but we're pretty much wrapping up here, to be honest. Being a backseat chatter, yeah, for sure.
Bro, they're gonna clip this and be like, They're gonna clip this and be like, Slasher, Jewish journalist Slasher agrees Hassan is anti-Semitic. Oh no. It's no wonder Sam got so passionate. Lillard puts up with the conflation of Jewishness with Zionism every day. Yeah, so here's the issue. They're doing the Hassan flew into private jet to Coachella criticism right now. He's fucking sauceless. Sorry for being this kind of chatter right now. I'm stunned at how stupid Ethan is. Yeah. I don't care about any of that shit. He can fucking keep smearing me all day, every day. Okay, that's whatever. He needs to feed. He basically needs to feed people with something. He feels like a bruised little bird. Okay, he feels like a bruised bird. And he's licking his wounds, and he has to like give red meat to his audience to be like, no, guys, Hassan is still bad.
Hey, man.
Okay.
For sure, is kind of innovating the way that this has happened before, like our very eyes. I don't really remember a time in kind of YouTube or Twitch where these different creators were really going at it and having some type of constructive conversations, but at least it's happening for sure. Fuck.
Conclusion here, not the world should pressure Israel externally to end the war. What is Ethan's point? He has no point. Time without an OO, as you probably have gotten at this point. His point is, I need to defend. What? Okay, everybody shut up. His point is, I need to defend my position. I'm dug too deep. I've dug in too deep. I don't want to do self-reflection. I don't want to fucking change course. This was his opportunity to try and desperately change the trajectory by being like, see, Sam Sedar agrees with me. Look at how, look at the way Sam Sedar agrees with me, and then try to like, end this arc in his content, because he only sees people as like, toys to play with or content to be consumed. And it's mostly just like trying to desperately belittle him.
Right. I think this is kind of like, as a viewer, as watchers, we're seeing kind of the arc go down. This is where like it's kind of peaking a little bit, and I guess wherever the H3 and the hasanabi conversation goes, that's kind of where the next state is. But I mean, this is just really interesting to watch these kind of creators with such large influence just go at it. And what the fuck, man? Where are we? This is like some meta shit.
Is a sizable content creator with a platform, and he's using every waking moment of that platform talking about Israel to basically attack pro-Palestinian voices, advocates. And he's getting a lot of attention from the other slop tubers as well. And the unfortunate reality is a lot of these apolitical slop tubers, okay, that present themselves as apolitical centrists or whatever, they do have a capacity to change people's minds, because a lot of dumb people just kind of want to watch a fucking YouTube drama video and get their notes from that. Okay? Ethan is exposing you for flying private with David Dobrik. What are you talking about?
Man, talking about slop tubers. Hey, you gotta fucking sometimes champion the terms that are be thrown around. I know when he says slop tubers, he's talking about like the really aggro ones, the ones that make hit pieces and stuff. But I mean, I don't want to bucket ourselves into a slop tuber perspective, but I think we're more kind of like the viewer side of it, like being watchers and kind of supporters of these people and just their influence on others, right? It's kind of a trip.
My Hasbro alarms, like, I'll have you know, Sam, there's not a single public bomb shelter in Gaza. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? What do you think a bunker buster does to a goddamn bomb shelter? If he ain't ending the stream, no reason you can't hop on a call right now. Oh, I agree. I don't know why he doesn't want to have a call now.
Woo!
I don't know why you spend so much time on Ethan. As I've said already,
they're about to
treat this as if Asmongold is doing this kind of Hasbro.
Okay? Wear him down.
Treat this as if Ben Shapiro is doing this kind of Hasbro, except Ben Shapiro has no motion right now. Ethan has more motion than Ben Shapiro. That's it. Like, look at how excited he got to deliver this talking point, as though Sam hasn't ever heard this before, as though people who are pro-Palestine have not heard this a million times over.
By the way, just there's not one.
What Wait, hold on. If he's, dude, at this point, if he's still watching clips of me, why don't you just talk to me in person? What is happening?
It looked like they were actually ending the broadcast. I don't know on the H3 podcast side, but we're just watching this shit live. I wasn't even planning to see this, but it's kind of unfolding. So they planned it for Friday in a couple days from now. So I don't know why he's even trying to call him right now. He's already weighed down by the Sam Sedar call, but that's probably why he wants to get in right now instead of waiting until he kind of gets his other talking points. But
We have enough time to watch clips of me.
oh, okay.
Definitely down to do it Friday, though.
Bruh.
Peace and love.
So the broadcast is still going on. Fuck, dude.
That's what I said. I said, hey man, since you talked to Sam, I think we can have a more productive combo now since you seemingly have enough time to watch clips of me. Definitely down to do it Friday though. Peace and love.
I mean, if he penciled him in for Friday, why would he try to go in right now? I mean, but it makes sense if he's watching fucking clips of him. Why not just do it now?
Are we using the term master bedroom?
Are we using the term master bedroom?
I just say it's my room.
Yeah, I think a master. What's next? He wants to change the name of his sword?
Too much passive aggressiveness, I think. No, it's good. He plans to Friday. You're already talking on Friday.
Okay, Lane,
Hassan, please get to covering the news. Okay, that's true. I probably should do that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Get off
Drama
your high horse.
pervers.
Bet you still haven't watched the nuke, hypocrite. Oh, he saw it, I think.
And Marvel Rivals right now. Does that mean?
That's fucked up, love.
Wait, you're past Celestial? No. The season reset.
It
So I'm in a
reset.
lower rank
He
now.
got knocked back down.
Oh, that sucks, dude. I'm sorry.
So we're looking like about 26% say no,
Yes,
to 74% say yes.
I love our audience. You know, you guys, you're very reasonable.
Bing bong. Do you think it's okay to call it a master
We gotta put
bedroom?
our
I think
foot
it's
down on
fine.
Some of this, you know, unless you can show me evidence otherwise that it is like comes from racism.
Bro, they're about to do it
sleeping in
right
my
now. What
master
the
bedroom,
fuck?
damn it.
Fair enough. We'll have to.
All right, never mind. They're gonna avoid
We'll
it.
take it up with customer support. Seriously.
All right, whatever.
Hey, man.
You read the whole thing and is ignoring you? Yeah. Not sure it's reached your media, but recent reports of Hebrew military correspondents indicated military is pushing for a ground invasion of the famous Al-Mawazi humanitarian zone. 10,000 reservniks will be called in to take over positions in the West Bank, Lebanon, and Syria so the conscripts can take over in Gaza. This is huge and will be a massacre. Yeah. They're pretending it didn't happen. It's all good. Maybe they didn't see it. 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 Be charitable. Be charitable. Be charitable. Anyway, let's take a look at this.
By the way, just you know, there's not
This right here in front of a massive fucking audience, for the record, this right here in front of a massive audience should be treated exactly as a defense of Israel, because that's precisely what it is. Okay, and that is the reason why I treat it as though he is basically like a random person with a massive audience that is. As soon as you click the way he goes back to reacting to your clips, that's crazy.
What? I'm just wondering if they're gonna do it right now, because they said Friday, so fuck, what the hell?
You letting 100K people watch Ethan spread his delusions instead of addressing the core? What do you mean? I'm doing it right now.
not one public bomb shelter in Gaza.
There's not one public bomb shelter in Gaza?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
I just think that's interesting. It's pretty fucked up, don't you think?
All right, so he's kind of rehashing what just happened, which is pretty big in terms of the whole content creator news and stuff. But I mean, they're talking politics. If they do end up talking today, fuck it, we'll get back on. But it looks like he's gonna talk about the Sam Sedar convo with H3, and that already popped off. So thank y'all for checking this shit out. This was amazing to watch live. It's kind of innovative. Never really seen creators go at it like this before, live, and so much people watching. But I appreciate y'all. Deuces, we're out of here today. So thank you. Maybe we'll come back. But for right now, we're gonna give it a little pause.